Hey everyone, welcome to um, my monthly opinions, if you will. Sorry, this is the first. Sorry, I didn't do one. I think for a while right now, so I'm sorry about that. But yeah, what can I say this month that has not been said already, if you will? I mean, a lot of people are really anticipating what's coming up the road with these issues and all that, whether it's the spin-off comic Sonic Universe or whether it's the main comic. Excuse me. A lot of people are kind of are in anticipation. Some are antsy, and some just don't like what's going on. You know, and everybody, as somebody once said, I think it was Sasuke419 on YouTube said everybody has a right to their opinion. And everybody's had a difference of opinion on the story arc. You know, some like it, some are kind of indifferent about it, and others just plain hate it. Now, honestly, nobody really knows what Ian's building towards right now. I mean, for all we know, it could be something big. It could be something memorable. It could be something that takes us by surprise. We don't know. The one hint that I did get, though, I read this somewhere, and I'm not sure where it was, but it seems Paul Kalminski indicated to another fan that, or at least hinted at the fact to another fan, that 250 would basically be almost like the climax, possibly. Now, we know Ian Flynn has teased us and said that who's to sit, and basically has teased us with the question of saying, the questionable response of saying, who says I'm going to end it by 250? Well, if somebody known as your editor-in-chief kind of indicates or hints to a fan out there that this could be 250 will be it, well, not the end of this comic, but basically the end of this story arc, or at least sort of a climax to the first part of it, then, you know, who knows? You know, who knows who's telling what? Who's telling the truth or not? You know, and a lot of people have, you know, expressed how they feel about what's going on. I mean, some people are willing to give the story arc a chance, and that's a good thing. I mean, you take a look at, let's say, Game Boy Sage, who ranted for a while, and then after a few issues, said, you know what, I'm going to give the story arc, and I'm going to give Ian Flynn a chance. And as I mentioned before in an audio video, Game Boy Sage was kind of 50-50 about the most recent issue in the main comic. Basically stating that they liked the backup story more than they did the main story. And if you're a fan of comic books, or you're a professional reviewer of anything that's split into two segments, and you say that the best thing about said product was the last thing they read or saw, if they say that's the only thing that saved the comic or saved whatever you saw, then that's not a good thing. And if they basically make it sound like they're 50-50, that's okay, but if you're a comic book writer or a writer of any kind, you want the reader or the viewer to be 100% behind what you do. You want that person to be 100% behind what you do and support what you do. You don't want 50-50. I mean, you got people here on YouTube, you got people over at Bumble King forums and whatnot. You have some people, you know, at DeviantArt, believe it or not, besides Game Boy Stage, that have kind of been 50-50. You know? And again, you can't really blame anybody for feeling like that. If you don't, I mean, if you want people to be by your side, you basically got to give them something that they'll get 100% behind. Now, Ian Flynn is capable of doing this. I mean, he has done it numerous times, over and over. You know, Ezekiel 300 has even stated that you take a look at 230, whether you like it or not, you know, it's something that Ezekiel 300 got 100% behind and supported Ian for. And that's Ezekiel's choice. You know, if they want to do that, that's their choice. But you see, the thing is, that's just one of maybe many, if not half of the, let's say, the readership, if you will, that read that issue. Not saying that's true or not. But when you build towards something, you want to make it worth the while of somebody. Now, one interesting aspect that I pointed out in my audio video, I should say, is that GBS, Game Boy Sage, actually said something that surprised me, and I don't know if anybody else feels the same way. If you do feel the same way, let me know down below. But GBS basically feels that the Mecha Sally situation is starting to get played out. You know, it's starting to get played out. And it's basically the saying, you know, the shock value that the other characters that don't know about her being roboticized and weaponized and all that is getting old. It's getting overly used. It needs to stop. Now, here's the thing. Who's to say this isn't part of, let's say, Ian's plan? No, I'm not. Now, hear me out. Hear me out. I'm not trying to berate Ian or anything. I'm just trying to think. Wouldn't this be part of his plan, knowing that a lot of fans, even those that may support him, will start getting sick and tired of seeing Mecha Sally show up and have people that don't know about her roboticization and weaponization be shocked? Don't you think he probably doesn't realize that and think to himself, well, if I keep this up, they'll get sick and tired of it, that maybe when I do restore her, not saying if he will, or when or where it will happen, because we got to play into his game, remember? We got to act like we're not sure what he's got planned for her. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, just think for a moment. Just think for a moment that perhaps he wants it to play out. So let's say if he restores her, that there will be those that will look at it and say, you know what? Maybe having Sally around normally wasn't such a bad idea. You know, we may not like, and maybe he's hoping for fans to be like, you know, that are against it, to be like, you know what? We may not have liked some of her, you know, abilities. We may not like some of her personality, but hey, you know, it's either we're stuck with her or we get something else that we may not like. Who knows? But again, it just makes you think that perhaps this is what he wants. And now I'm not trying to berate him. I'm trying to think. Because you got to ask yourself, is there a method, to coin a phrase, to his madness? To his Is there a method to his madness? Is there a method to his creativity? You know, is there a method? Is there a reasoning? Is there a goal? I mean, Bo Skunk even was asking, you know, that question. Is there a goal? What does he have planned? You know, because, you know, even Boskunk mentioned this in a comment over at DeviantArt. Said that, yeah, he does drag it out a bit, but he's got to have a reason for it. He's got to have some plan for it. But what is it? What is it? We don't know. And you know, and this is the thing, you know, month after month, you know, you've got a fan base, and I said this in a video I did walking outside on the way to the store here in Patterson. I basically, and you can see the video here on my channel, it's basically entitled, to quote Ian Flynn, "There's no pleasing anyone." So, does Ian Flynn realize that or not? Because month after month, he should be realizing that there's no pleasing anybody. There's no pleasing anybody. I mean, yes, he's doing the best job he can, which is, without a doubt, something that anybody would probably do if they were in his shoes. Heck, I'm not saying that if I was the head writer, I wouldn't do the same thing. I'm not saying someone like Jonathan 83X or Laser X5 wouldn't do the same thing. I'm not saying someone like Sage or Dan Dreisen or whoever else out there, Ezekiel 300, you know, they wouldn't do the same thing. But the thing is, how much longer do we have to deal with it? You see, that's one question that those that are getting impatient, that kind of, I guess you would say, agree with the opinion of Game Boy Sage, in saying how much longer do we have to go with this whole Mecha Sally deal? How, you know, her in the shock value and all that, blah, blah, blah. You know, how much more do we have to go through with this? I mean, you got a reviewer here on YouTube. It's called Mega Batman, I think. I think that's the name. Mega Bateman. I don't know. That, you know, it's kind of like, you know, kind of when you listen to the reviews, are kind of like, okay, how much longer do we have to deal with Nagas being in charge, or how long do we have to deal with the writers, or not the writers, but the citizens of the kingdom being so blinded by what's going on? You know, this is stuff people are wondering and they want answers to. Now I know Ian, and I give him credit, is trying his best to give the fans what they want. But like I said in the video, and he's even said it himself, there's no pleasing anyone. There's no pleasing. I mean, yeah, you want to say, oh, I did this because I wanted to please the game fans, or I did that because I wanted to please the longtime fans. I don't know. You see, there's a lot of plot holes still out there that I'm sure Ian Flynn's going to do his best to fill up. But the question is, how and when will he do it? I mean, believe it or not, next month is June, and next month is 238. So, literally, you will have a year from next month. A year left, 12 months left, until we finally get some kind of resolution. Now, and again, I don't know exactly what he's got planned. I don't know what the method is behind his madness, but, you know, I mean, I try to give my own opinion, but yet, you know, some people will kind of get angry with me and say, oh, this is what you feel, and that's what you feel, and blah, blah, blah. No, it's just my honest opinion. It's my honest, humble opinion of what I say. You know, one of the things I look at is I'm thinking, well, what if Ian decides to go full circle with Eggman? What if he decides to have Eggman go back into that episode again that he had where he went insane? I mean, if you think about it, in 230, he kind of had almost a relapse into that episode. So it makes you think perhaps there's more to it than meets the eye. I mean, yeah, he's more sinister, he's more vicious, he's more sadistic. I will give Ian credit on that. But the thing is, how much longer do we have to deal with it? How much longer does us as fans have to deal with this before we get some kind of resolution? No one really knows. I mean, like I said, the only person that's given a hint to us as long as it's going to go is Paul Kaminski, and that's it. And that's it, you know. So honestly, I don't know how long it's going to go, but right now I could say this: there are some signs, according to fans, through the reviews of issues and stuff that might shed some light on this, on what's going to happen. There is some signs. Like one, I mentioned this before, I'll mention it again. Somebody over at Devonart, Black Winged or something, I think that's the name, said that in Sonic 40, when Monkey Kong was combating Sally in her mecha form, he mentioned the fact that he loved her, and it's like for a brief moment, she kind of asked a question acknowledging it, saying, "You love me?" So that's one sign, according to one fan. One sign of what may come. Another sign is the whole Mina and Nicole deal. Now, everybody's happy that Nicole's probably going to straighten herself out and probably be the one that stops Naugus and probably eventually be the one that helps defeat Eggman and restore Sally. If that's the case. We're not saying that. But again, we're not saying that, but who's to say that wouldn't be the scenario? Now, we don't know honestly where Mina and Nicole are going to play into this whole secret freedom fighter situation, whatever. My honest guess and opinion on it, because this is my monthly opinions, if you will. My honest guess and opinions, my honest and humble opinions and guess on this is we might see the return of that little portable de-roboticizer. I'm not joking, folks. It's just my honest, humble opinion. I mean, why would Harvey Who suddenly make his presence known after Nicole and Mina mended, the relationship, the friendship, patch things up, if you will? Why would he suddenly show up and say, "I need her help"? Now, I can understand maybe if she's got to help make the suits and all that for the Secret Freedom Fighters. But I also can understand that perhaps her help is probably with a de-roboticizer, when you think about it. Because think about it this way. Everybody, I'm sure, come on. Because think about it this way. Do you not think Ian Flynn realizes people are expecting him to probably bring the beam into the picture? Do you not think he's expecting that to happen? Do you not think he's expecting fans to, look towards Sonic as being the one that's going to restore her? I mean, I'll give you this. Jay Foxfire, who's one of the most talented fan artists out there, did a heck of a job with the animation she did over at DeviantArt. Basically, it was Sonic in his super form, using the Chaos Emeralds, and I guess a power ring, if you will, to basically restore Sally, first free will, and then slowly as him and her are descending down to the ground, back to flesh and blood. Now, that could be one way he could go. But again, he probably knows that's what fans would predict and fans would expect. So if he does restore her, I wouldn't discount him bringing back the portable de-roboticizer that we first saw in issue 29 of the main comic. I wouldn't be surprised by that. I mean, look, he's brought back Hobby Who after how many issues? After how long? I mean, come on, honestly. So it makes you think, it makes you wonder if perhaps that's what he's going to do. I'm not saying he will, but in my honest, humble opinion, that looks like it could be the direction. My honest, humble opinion, though, folks. My honest and humble opinion. All right? So that's one way of looking at it. Now, again, like I said, with Eggman, my only assumption and opinion on that is he's either going to go full circle with Eggman and have Eggman have another episodic episode where he goes insane again, or he's going to have Eggman basically get arrested, probably eventually, by the Zone Cop. I mean, after it's all settled, he might get arrested by the Zone Cop and get put on trial for messing up the cosmos and all that and trying to rework the world in his image. You know, I'm just waiting for the Zone, for if that was to happen, I'm just waiting for the moment for when that happens, for the Zone Cop to look Eggman in the face and say, yeah, you equal up to the original Robotnik. You match up to him almost specifically, but you forget one thing. This isn't your world, this is the Prime world. And in the Prime world, you always lose, no matter what. So, we'll just have to wait and see what happens. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Zone Cop shows up as we get to the anniversary, if not around that time. Another speculation that some fans have, and some fans have pointed this out to me, is they feel Sally may be the one that has the blue Chaos Emerald. I know that sounds ridiculous, but think about it this way. When she got roboticized, her vest kind of connected into like a breast arm, into one of those armor plates, for the armor breastplates, if you will, almost like that. But when you take a look at it, in a sense, it's almost like part of it's in the shape of an emerald. Now you might think to yourself, well, wait a minute. Why would Sally steal the emerald, knowing that it could restore her? Why would she steal it if it hasn't had no effect on her yet? Well, you see, that's just the thing. She may have stole it and have it probably roboticized within her, but it hasn't caused any effect yet. So, and that's where the power ring, Ken Khan, Monkey Khan's crown, comes into play in the future. So you got to look forward to that in the next few months, because something's going to play out of that. But we don't. But the thing is, will it play out to the point that we'll find out that Sally is the one that has the emerald? Will it play out to that fact? Will it play out to that assumption? Will it play out to that revelation? We don't know. Another thing I can think of is perhaps, and I know a lot of people feel as though I'm going the wrong direction with this, but I'm thinking, what if Feist, that panda, what if he has the emerald? Think about it. Here's a guy, not a guy, but here's an entity, if you will, that like Mogul used to, but more so, likes to play games, likes to mess with people, with the characters, likes to play games with them. So how much you want to probably, well, not how much you want to bet, I shouldn't say that, but how much you want to guess that could be one of the directions Ian's thinking of, if he hasn't already. Because think about it. Feist could be the exact wild card we all look for and wouldn't expect. But he could be the wild card. Now, is that true or not? We don't know. Now, the other thing that a lot of people are curious about is after we're done with the Secret Freedom Fighter deal, that obviously we're going to be heading into a Knuckles story arc in Sonic Universe. Alright? But here's going to be the question, how is that going to tie in with the whole current story arc right now? It's anybody's guess. I mean, we know that the evil Fantavius, or whatever his name is, Dr. F, if you will, is supposed to appear in it. But how's it all going to play out? We don't know. But we know fans are looking forward to that because everybody loves Knuckles. I mean, who doesn't love Knuckles? I mean, the guy's a badass when you think about it sometimes. And then there's Bunny. Obviously, Bunny's situation is going to be resolved maybe in a, not a 4-part, but maybe possibly a short 2 to 3-part Sonic Universe story arc. Maybe a backstory. We don't know. See, a lot of fans don't know exactly what Ian has in store for her. They don't know whether or not she's going to get legionized and get brainwashed, or if her uncle, if she does get legionized, is be the one that does it and make sure she retains her free will. And who's to say that Mighty and Ray won't tie into it somehow? Because when you think about it, Mighty and Ray are trying to find Mighty's sister. Who's to say they won't tie into the whole Bunny situation as well? Just saying. Just saying. So those are things you should think about right there. Overall, just a lot's been going on. I mean, again, a lot of people have their difference of opinions, and they have a right to that, and how they feel about certain things. But everything that I have mentioned, you got to look at it like this. Ian has to have something planned. And if he does, more power to him. If it's something that's going to catch us by surprise, more power to him. But if it's something we already expect, so be it. I mean, I know a lot of people, well, not a lot of people, but I know there are some out there that don't expect to have a huge, surprising climax to the story arc due to the mandates that Sega has handed down. Well, not handed down, but limits Ian from doing more than he should. I know fans don't like the fact that a certain character that was supposed to reveal herself, as many people assume, in 237, has to be held back due to legal issues. So, I know a lot of fans aren't expecting, not a lot of fans, but some fans aren't expecting a huge climax, a great climax, but we don't know that yet. We don't know that yet. You know, I'm pretty sure, and you know what, I'll be honest with you folks, I'm hoping Ian Flynn, after it's all said and done, comes on YouTube, because he has a YouTube channel, and not through audio, but on camera, in person, if you will, explains to each and every one of us why he did this story arc that has caused so much controversy with the fans. That has caused him not to be able to please the fans like he was hoping to. You know, I hope he does that. But again, only time will tell with everything that I've mentioned. Now, one last thing. Now, a few last things to close up here. Everybody's questioning as to why the upcoming issues for 39 and 40 just have Sonic and Amy on them. What's going on? Just Sonic on one cover, I think it's 39's cover, and Amy on the cover of 40. You know, like, what's the point? What's going on? Well, I'm thinking, because I wouldn't be surprised if Tails is on 241. But my guess is that those covers are to represent them as team fighters. And usually when you have team fighters, or some kind of a team individually by character on the cover of an issue, that's usually supposed to mean something. It usually means something big's going to happen, but we don't know what. And that's the uniqueness about comic books and even novels. You don't know what's going to happen until it happens. Now, the other thing is some of a new graphic novel apparently is being released in the next few months. And it's a graphic novel of Ian's first major story arc, and that is Darkest Storm. So it will be released in the next few months. So that I guess we could look forward to that, because I thought it was okay. I thought it was okay. Of course, we have another Knuckles archive to look forward to. And they're already advertising the best of Sonic. So that's something to look forward to as well. And one last little tidbit in case some of you don't know about this yet. But Bunny, I talked about Bunny earlier and her situation. But a little fun tidbit. You know that sketch show on Cartoon Network, that animated sketch show based on the magazine Mad? Well, in case some of you don't know about this, they had an episode they did, I guess, this past week, which you could find on demand if you have an on-demand service, which I'm pretty sure most people do. But they showed an episode entitled "The Iron Giant Lady," basically a play in parody on the Iron Lady and the Iron Giant. Well, anyway, the Iron Giant Lady, who, like I said, is a portrayal of the Iron Lady that Meryl Streep played in that bio movie, in the Iron Giant. Before she announces, I guess, the winner of the Robot Grammy Awards, or one of the awards at this Robot Grammy thing, goes on to tell her life story and blah, blah, blah and everything. And then as she gets towards the end, she says something that she paved the way for all other robotic women out there. And right after they show a picture of, I can't even think of that robot's name from WALL-E right now. That female robot's name, I'm trying to think. Eve, yeah. After they showcase some pictures, one with the Eve robot from WALL-E, the next picture they show is Chuck Norris getting super kicked in his own tournament by none other than Bunny Rabbit. I'm not lying. One picture right after the Eve picture flashed by, the next one is a Bunny Rabbit super kicking Chuck Norris in the face, if you will, at his own tournament. And that, believe it or not, that's made a lot of news when you go to a lot of Sonic sites. Because nobody expected that whatsoever. Nobody. But it does kind of tell me that maybe somebody working on that show was a fan of Saturday and a fan of the comics. So, but yeah, that's just a little fun tidbit I threw out there, just in case some of you didn't know that. But overall, that's just my opinions for this month of May going into June. And that's all I'm going to say. Comment down below if you like. Video response if you like. And I will talk to y'all later.